Hey everybody, today I'm going to be giving you a quick market update for the greater Seattle area. So if you're looking for the most up-to-date information regarding what is going on in the real estate market here locally, then stick around because we're going to get after it right now. Hey there, I'm Jordan Reeder, your Seattle area real estate agent, and every week I drop content about everything you need to know about moving to or living in the greater Seattle area. Today I wanted to take a few minutes and just go over a quick real estate market report covering the greater Seattle area for July of 2022. This information is more important than ever as the market is changing quite rapidly. I find it's really hard to stay on top of what's happening locally when you're reading national news with some local news mixed in. Remember, real estate is hyper local, so let's jump into the data, and at the end I'll pull out my crystal ball and I'll tell you where I think we are headed and give you a few tips and tricks if you're a buyer or a seller in today's market. All right, so we're going to look at a lot of data points today, but the first piece of information that I want to look at is percentage of list. So when somebody lists a home for sale in the MLS, we want to know what percentage of that list price they're actually getting or the property is actually selling for. In a normal healthy market, you should be looking at somewhere in the mid to high 90% range. For the last few years, as you probably know, we've been seeing 100% and in some cases going well over that due to bidding wars. So right now in King County, the largest county in the Seattle area, that percentage to list price for single family homes in July of 2022 was 100.4%. So that means that if the house is priced properly, then it has a good chance of selling at or close to 100% of its actual list price. And for townhouses and condos, that percentage of list price was 103.4%. So what does that mean? Well, we're seeing the percentage of list price for condos and townhouses being a little bit elevated, and it's probably due to affordability. You can find condos and townhouses for a lot less money. All right, so the next number that we look at is months of inventory, and that means that if no other inventory hit the market today, how long would it take for all of that inventory on the MLS to be sold off? In a normal balanced market, you're looking in that 4 to 6 month range. That means that there's enough inventory to choose from if you're a buyer, and then sellers also don't have to wait too long for their property to sell. We have been sitting at about a month or less of inventory, and that is extremely low. And this explains and directly affects how much above list prices houses are going to go, right? Less supply and high demand equals prices rising quickly, and that's what's been happening over the past couple years. So for July of 2022 in King County, we are sitting at 1.8 months of inventory for single family houses, which is an increase of 0.3 months from June of 2022, which was sitting at 1.5 months, and it's 1 full month of additional inventory from this same time last year, which was at 0.8 months of inventory, so less than a month. Now for townhouses and condos, it is pretty similar. The months of inventory is 1.6, which is up from 1.5 last month and up 0.3 from this same time last year. So again, what does this mean to you if you're a buyer or a seller? Well, inventory is going up. It's actually almost doubled since the same time last year in some cases, in some markets. So when inventory is going up, buyers do have more options to choose from. So we still are very strongly in a seller's market. However, buyers are able to get a little bit more power, which means there is a bit more negotiation room available. And so I always tell buyers this is a really good time to start finding something to buy. If you're a seller, it just means you need to price your property right. Because you have so much more inventory that you're competing against, you want to make sure that you're showing your property in the best light and that you are choosing the right purchase price, not too high or not too low. You want it just right. So the next stat that I'd like to go over is the average days on market, and that is when a home hits the MLS, how long does that home take to go under contract? In a balanced, healthy market, this should be somewhere in the 45 to 60 day range. I'd say maybe less here in the Seattle market. 30 days would be a good number when things are balanced here. We've been well below that, again, because of lack of supply and just a huge amount of demand around here. Sellers have been in control and usually would see multiple offers in as little as 2 days. Now the days on market number is jumping up a bit. The average days on market in King County for single family homes is 13 days. Wow, I mean, that's still very, very low. That is up 4 days on market more than June of 2022, so last month, and up 3 days on market more than the same time last year. Now the average days on market for townhouses and condos was 13 days as well, which was up from 9 days on market from last month in June and down from 20 days on market from the same time last year. So you're definitely seeing some fluctuation here, but at the end of the day, we are still less than 15 days on market on average. And so that is a very, very strong market. There is still a lot of buyers swirling. I believe that most of them had to really factor in the interest rates. And once they've internalized that and accepted it, now they can actually move forward. And we're seeing that happen more often. So our days on market is still very, very low considering the national average. So by now you're probably asking, well, what are home prices doing here in King County or the Seattle area? All these factors that we just talked about are going to play into home value and home prices. Housing prices have been going crazy over the last couple of years. We're talking about double-digit rates of return, but we all know that that is changing. We're going to take a look at the median sales price for single-family homes and townhomes and condos. The median sales price is the best way to determine the direction of housing prices in the area. The average sales price can be skewed if you have multiple listings that go well above or well below the mark. So we're looking at median, which means that 50% of those listings that have sold go above that number and 50% of those listings have gone for below the median value. The median sales price for July of 2022 in King County for single family homes was $875,000, and that is down from $925,000 from last month, but still up from about $870,000 from the same time last year in 2021. The median sales price for townhouses and condos for King County was $799,000, which was the same as the month prior in June of 2022, and the median sales prices is still up from $715,000 in July of 2021. So from June to July, median sales prices have stayed flat or have gone down just slightly, which means that values are cooling off. Remember, we're still up big in most areas of King County, so what you will most likely see is the year-over-year numbers continually headed downward. Again, losing value is subjective, so look at it like the stock market. So if I had $1,000 and I put it into the market, and over 1 year I turn that $1,000 into $2,000, well, that's 100% return. But what if it goes down to $1,500 over the next few months? It basically is eroding into my gains. So same thing in the real estate market. Yes, technically you can't sell your house for as much as you would have at the peak a couple months ago, but that doesn't mean that your home is plummeting in value. It just means that it's eroding some of your gains over the last year or two. I think it's important to ask yourself what losing home value actually means and whether or not that is something that is actually happening. What we're noticing right now is that housing prices are leveling off. They're not going to be returning double-digit returns anymore for the time being. And so we just need to kind of see how things play out. Housing prices are coming down a little bit, coming back to reality, but for the most part, they're holding steady. All right, so now let's jump into arguably the most important number, Economics 101, right? Inventory levels. So this is simply looking at supply and demand, supply being houses and demand being buyers. There have been very few houses with a ton of buyer demand. Well, that's changing a bit. So if you want to get a little bit more information about what's going on and what affects these numbers, then go ahead and check out this video that I'll link up right here, and I'll give you a little bit more detailed information about how we got here. All right, so for single family homes in King County in July of 2022, there were 2,433 listings in the MLS, and that is an increase from 2,226 listings from June of 2022, and an increase from 858 in July of 2021. Just something to think about as inventory levels are starting to jump a bit. So for townhouses and condos, for July of 2022, there were 534 listings, which were up from 527 last month, and up from 451 listings in July of 2021. So if you're a buyer, that just means there's more inventory that's coming on that's going to give you more opportunity to find the house that works for you in the budget that you're looking for. So if you're a seller, this actually just means, again, that you are going to have to actually have your marketing in place and have an agent that's going to be able to help you differentiate your listing from the other competition that's on the market. All right, so there you have it. That concludes my real estate market update for July of 2022. If you're a buyer, again, I just think it's a really good time to jump into the market because we have a lot of extra inventory that you can take a look at. I'm not saying go out and jump into the first house that you see. Go see some houses, really get an opportunity to determine what it is that you're looking for. I'm pretty confident that you'll be able to find a deal rather than having to deal with so much bidding wars as many of you have gotten exhausted with over the last couple of years. And obviously, if you're a seller, there's still a lot of opportunity to get a top sales price for your house. Gone are the days of just putting up your property and getting 30 people through on the first day and getting 10 offers going well above ask. So your days on market are starting to tick up a little bit more, so it's going to take a little longer to sell. Absolutely still a great time to sell and to be able to get a good price on your home. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are looking to move to the greater Seattle area or already live here and want to connect, I'm going to put my contact information right here. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. My goal is to bring you great real estate content each and every week and to be your resource for all things things real estate here in Seattle. And with that, now that you know all of the numbers and what's going on in the market here in Seattle, be sure to watch this next video where I'm going to outline what might happen to the Seattle real estate market during a recession. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.